I was leaving the building where I'd worked for years, tired after another one of those long days, when I saw something unexpected across the street. A little girl, with brown hair tied in two red bows, was holding a makeshift cardboard box on her lap. Even from a distance, I could tell she was trying to smile, but her eyes couldn't hide her fear. I felt a pang in my chest, something I hadn't felt in a long time, as if that image had scratched at a forgotten part of me. "Mister, want to buy a toy?" Her voice cut through the city noise, thin and firm, as if she had no other choice. Without a second thought, I crossed the street. As I got closer, I noticed details that photos and screens never show. Small paint stains on her fingers, worn-out sneakers, and the care with which she displayed each toy, which were clearly her treasures. It was obvious she was doing it out of necessity rather than a desire to sell. Subscribe to the channel and leave a like for more stories like this. My name is James. In the papers, I'm called a successful businessman, the kind of person some envy and others avoid. To be honest, for a long time, I acted as if my problems were the only ones that mattered. But that night, Olivia, just 7 years old, managed to get to me in a way no negotiation, corporate defeat, or victory ever had. She told me, with less shyness than I expected for someone so small, that she was there because her mom, Emily, was very sick. Expensive medicines, hospitals, appointments, it all seemed like part of another world. But I knew well that these are huge obstacles for those who have little. Olivia said she needed to save money because, in her own words, when mommy gets better, I want her to play with me again. I was speechless for a few moments, feeling the weight of what that little girl was facing. The world seemed to have grown bigger, and I, smaller than ever. I asked Olivia to come with me to a nearby coffee shop, and there we really started talking. Her eyes kept looking towards the entrance, as if waiting for her mom. She told me about her toys, each with a simple story, sometimes funny, other times full of longing. Slowly she opened up about Emily, the sleepless nights, the cough that wouldn't go away, the fear that tomorrow might be too late. I listened, searching for words, but the truth is, there was no ready-made advice for that situation. In the following days, I couldn't get Olivia out of my head. I visited Emily in the small apartment where they lived, and there I got to know her world. The smell of tea, medicines scattered on the table, drawings taped to the wall. There was also Sophia, the older sister, who was doing her best to keep the family going. Emily, even pale and tired, tried to greet me with a gentle smile. We talked while Olivia hugged a teddy bear in the armchair beside us. I felt there was something familiar about Emily, a trait in her gaze, her voice, the way she held her daughter's hands. As the days passed, my connection with that family deepened. Olivia would wait for me at the door, ready to tell me what had happened that day. Sophia, a bit more reserved, would thank me silently every time I helped with groceries or picked up medicine. Emily, despite her suffering, always found a way to talk to me about simple things, making those moments less heavy. One morning, while helping Olivia organize a box of pencils, I noticed a black and white photo on the shelf. On impulse, I asked Emily about that time. She hesitated before answering, and deep in her eyes I saw a secret kept for years. I was taken back 20 years, to when I met a young woman full of dreams named Emily at a casual party. I never knew what had happened to her since then. In that moment, I understood that fate was bringing us together again, for some reason I didn't yet grasp, but felt growing inside me. And so the days went by. Between comings and goings, conversations and silences, that feeling of responsibility that only grows when we allow ourselves to truly see others took hold of me. Olivia became part of my routine, her initial plea echoing in me every night. I promised myself I'd do everything in my power for her, not just to help with her mom's medicine, but to bring back a hope that time had almost erased from that home. I clearly remember the day everything truly changed. It wasn't a loud event, nor an unexpected storm, but a revelation that arrived slowly, as if life had waited for the right time to break an old silence. We were sitting together, Emily, Olivia, Sophia, and I, after another round of exams and doctor's appointments. I was already so involved with them that their apartment felt like a part of my own story. Emily, growing weaker, looked at Olivia with silent tenderness. That day, leaving the doctor's office, she asked me to stay for a quick coffee. I sat at the table, feeling a lump in my throat without understanding exactly why. Emily took Sophia's hand and asked Olivia to go to her room to organize some drawings. It was just the three of us, in silence, until Emily started talking. She took a deep breath and said she needed to tell me something important, something she'd kept for a long time. As she spoke, her eyes filled with tears, but her tone was firm. "James, Olivia isn't just a girl you met by chance. She's your daughter." The words hung in the air, heavy as lead. I couldn't speak immediately. My mind was flooded with images of the past, of our youth, of the doubts and consequences left behind. Emily continued, explaining how she had kept that secret too. Protect Olivia, to not involve anyone in a difficult story, made even worse after that accident so many years ago. In that instant, my life turned upside down. Everything took on a new light. It wasn't just about helping a family in trouble. It wasn't just solidarity. It was about responsibility, about blood, about shared history, love, and also guilt. Emily said that after the accident, she tried to rebuild her life a few times, but never felt secure enough to tell the truth. She spoke of William Carter, the politician who caused that accident and then disappeared behind money and influence. Emily wasn't just carrying the pain of illness. She carried the weight of years of injustice, of knowing that the person responsible for her family's suffering remained unpunished. As she spoke, I felt that feeling of powerlessness turn into anger and sadness, an urgency to do something for these people, for myself, for the girl I now knew was my daughter. Sophia, beside her mother, cried softly, but also seemed relieved to finally share the burden. Olivia knew nothing at that moment. She was just a child who wanted her healthy mom back. There, I silently promised that I would fight not only for the medicines, but for the justice that family never had. In the days that followed this revelation, everything became more intense. I began to see Olivia in an even deeper way. Her every gesture, every word, every drawing scattered around the house now resonated differently. I was afraid of not being good enough, of not being able to fix the lost years, but also had a huge desire to protect, to give her and Sophia what no one had given them until then: security, truth, unconditional love. My closeness to Emily became more painful because she was increasingly frail. But at the same time, we grew closer than ever. Our conversations, filled with old memories and interrupted plans, served as comfort during that difficult time. Emily felt relieved not to carry the secret alone anymore, and I felt a mix of gratitude and regret for everything that had been left unresolved between us. I promised her, looking into her eyes, that Olivia would never want for anything again, no matter what the future held. Time seemed to rush around us, pressing decisions, throwing us into the eye of the storm. That's when William Carter reappeared in the news. They talked about his candidacy for a higher office, praised his supposed social achievements, completely ignoring his dirty past. That infuriated me in a way that's hard to explain. Overnight, all my energy turned to seeking justice, not just for Emily, but for Olivia, for Sophia, and for myself. Along with a trusted lawyer, I started investigating, searching for evidence, talking to old witnesses and people willing to speak, even against Carter's power. Olivia was small, but she noticed something was different. She started asking more about the past, wanting to understand why her mom was always so tired, why I spent so much time with them. One afternoon, I sat with her and explained everything as gently as possible. I talked about justice, about promises, about how sometimes people need to fight to right old wrongs. She listened attentively, hugging her favorite teddy bear, and for the first time asked if I would always be there to protect them. I looked into her eyes and said yes, with a certainty I'd never had in any business deal in my life. Meanwhile, Sophia, already a teenager, helped however she could. She took care of her mom, her sister, and the household chores. She was mature for her age, perhaps because life demanded it early on. Together, we created an environment where Olivia could grow a little more freely, even amidst the chaos. I tried to be present, attended school meetings, looked for recipes to make food they liked, filling voids as best as I could. The pressure mounted as we approached the trial. Carter was powerful, had good lawyers, knew how to use his image. But with the help of our lawyer, we gathered documents, testimonies, and even stories of other victims who had never dared to come forward. Emily, even ill, insisted on recording a video deposition, telling everything about the accident, the threats, and the neglect that followed. That was tough, but it brought relief to finally be able to speak the truth out loud. The climax of this whole struggle was on the day of the hearing. Emily was very debilitated but asked to watch, even if it was on a cell phone screen from the hospital. Olivia, who had just turned 8, already understood the essence of what was at stake. William Carter was there, cold, confident, surrounded by his allies. On the other side, me, with my daughters and the legal team feeling the weight of every word spoken. The hearing started tense. Every testimony felt like a battle. When it was Olivia's turn to speak, I was afraid she wouldn't handle the pressure. But to my surprise, she walked up to the podium, tiny but full of courage. She talked about the nights by her mother's side, about the fear of losing everything, about the day she decided to sell her toys to buy medicine. Her voice was firm, and every word seemed to dismantle the coldness of Carter and his lawyers. In that moment, there were no businessmen, politicians, or lawyers, just a girl speaking the truth, asking for justice for those she loved most. Soon after, it was Sophia's turn. Trembling, she recounted everything she had witnessed over the years, the hardships, the silence, the daily struggle to survive. I also spoke, recounting everything I had experienced in the past with Emily, how I reconnected with that family, how the secret came out, and how I saw firsthand the damage Carter caused without ever caring about the consequences. During the trial, evidence was presented, documents, medical records, testimonies from neighbors who remembered the accident and Carter's suspicious presence that night. The atmosphere was tense. Every face in the room seemed to absorb the weight of so many years of injustice. But despite the fear, I felt a strange serenity. For the first time, it wasn't me trying to control the world around me. It was just someone willing to do the right thing, no matter the cost. When the judge finally delivered his verdict, there was a long second of silence. Emily, listening from the hospital, cried, but this time from relief. Carter was found guilty of responsibility for the accident, for the damages caused, and for the intimidation attempts that followed. The courtroom filled with a sense of justice that's hard to describe. I hugged Olivia and Sophia as if I could protect them from everything, as if that embrace could hold all the lost years, all the difficult nights, all the interrupted dreams. From that day on, everything slowly began to change. Emily, though still fragile, gained new energy seeing justice served. Olivia became lighter, as if she could finally play without guilt. Sophia, for the first time in a long time, smiled with true hope. And I, who had always sought meaning in success, understood that life truly gains value when we choose to be present in the pain and joy of those we love. The following weeks were about rebuilding. With Carter's conviction came compensation, public apologies, and, most importantly, the possibility for Emily to treat her illness with the best doctors. The girls and I grew even closer. Olivia called me Dad with a naturalness that warmed my heart every morning. Sophia received a scholarship that changed the course of her life, and the house, once silent and heavy, was now full of conversations, laughter, and even new friends. Our family grew bigger. In Sophia, I found a daughter as dedicated and determined as Olivia was sweet and dreamy. We learned together how to be a family, how to overcome old traumas and build new memories. Emily, with what strength she had, thanked me every day for the time she gained. And I, finally, understood that happiness is much more connected to what we build with those we love than to any external recognition. Justice didn't bring back lost time, but it brought relief, the chance to start over, to do things differently. In every small gesture, I felt we were all healing, learning to trust, to dream, and to live without fear. Olivia, who once had to sell toys to try and save her mom, could now imagine a more colorful future, full of hope, and I, by their side, made sure to be part of that new story. The years flew by in a blink, as if all that suffering and struggle were tucked away in a part of my memory I only open when I need to remember the strength of what we lived through together. Olivia is no longer that little girl with scared eyes selling toys on the corner. Today, at 16, she's a determined young woman with a sparkle in her eyes, possessing a maturity that comes from someone who faced obstacles from birth and never lost hope. My pride in her is impossible to hide. She turned every wound into a desire to do good, and she's an inspiration to many around her. Olivia wanted Emily's memory to become something alive, something that would make a difference for others. From an early age, she talked about giving back what she received, about not letting other children go through what she and Sophia did. With my help and Sophia's involvement, who continued her studies, Olivia envisioned a community center, right in the neighborhood where it all began, honoring her mother. A simple but vibrant space, playrooms, a library, psychological support, after-school tutoring. The sign at the entrance bears Emily's name, and everyone in the neighborhood knows where to find help, conversation, a bit of hope. I followed every step of this construction. Olivia wanted to do everything right. Every detail mattered to her. Endless meetings, nights of planning, volunteers gradually arriving, donations from people moved by the story. Sophia spearheaded the project with her, using everything she learned in college. With my contacts and experience, I handled the bureaucratic side, but left the main decisions to them. It was moving to see my daughters working together, different yet complementary. Many times, I found myself standing at the center's door, watching from afar the activity, Olivia's smile welcoming someone, Sophia's lightness organizing activities, life happening right there. The walls of the community center were soon filled with drawings, thank you notes, and photos of the first groups served. The project grew, gained recognition, and became a reference for other neighborhoods. Olivia, though young, led with empathy. She listened, observed, knew the importance of being present for those who just needed a shoulder, a borrowed toy, a simple piece of advice. Sophia followed in her footsteps and further expanded the reach, creating partnerships with schools, businesses, and doctors in the region. Along this path, our family bonds strengthened. I remarried, this time to someone who also knew pain and chose to fight for good, Dr. Megan Lee, a dedicated doctor who entered our lives helping Emily during her most difficult phase. Megan brought serenity to the family and contributed immensely to keeping everything running, always supporting Olivia and Sophia in every decision. Our home once again became a place full of conversations, smells of fresh food, laughter scattered in every corner. Whenever I look back, I see how much we grew together. Sophia, that reserved girl, became a beacon of courage. Olivia, the little girl who sold toys, became a true leader, respected even by adults much older than her. Megan brought lightness, wisdom, and immense faith in people's ability to reinvent themselves. And I, who spent so many years trying to run from my own feelings, finally learned the importance of being fully present for those you love. Time taught us to value the details, the comfortable silences, the strength of a hug at the right moment. Life wasn't easy, and it never will be completely, but we managed to create a routine full of meaning. Birthdays became celebrations full of friends, children from the community center, old and new neighbors. Emily is always present, whether in stories, in the advice she left behind, in the way Olivia and Sophia lived their lives, never losing sight of what they learned from their mother. There isn't a day I don't feel proud of the journey we've taken, the courage to face the past and to turn pain into concrete action. For me, the biggest lesson came precisely from the ability to start over. I saw Olivia become strong without losing her tenderness. I saw Sophia learn to trust people. I saw Megan bring the best of herself into our home and the project. I myself left behind many fears, fear of failing as a father, of repeating past mistakes, of not being enough. The path wasn't easy. There were days of doubt, sleepless nights, arguments, and tears. But in every challenge, we chose to stick together, hold hands, and seek the best within us. I became a truly present father, and that's worth more than any business award. My criteria for success changed. I learned that success is sitting at the table for dinner with family. It's listening to stories. It's seeing Olivia and Sophia grow up safe. It's knowing that no one else will have to sell toys to try and save someone they love. Professional recognition doesn't hold the same weight when you discover the simple joy of helping those beside you, of building together, of learning daily. Today, Olivia is a role model for other young women facing difficulties. Many seek her out for advice, to share anxieties, to find a way out where they only see closed doors. She listens to everyone, with the same patience Emily had, with the same stubborn hope that made her go out selling toys that distant night. Sophia, always generous, found her life's mission in social work and already dreams of multiplying centers like ours throughout the city. Megan dedicates herself to family medicine with even more passion and, along with us, continues to run the project, forming teams, sharing knowledge, caring for the children as if they were all her own. I think the greatest legacy we leave is showing that eternal pain doesn't exist when you choose love, dialogue, and justice. Living is solving problems, losing and winning, falling and getting up. We can't change what's past, but we can give it another meaning. Olivia never let suffering be greater than hope. Sophia never allowed sadness to stop her from moving forward. Megan made care the center of her own life. And I, who started everything somewhat by chance, now understand that nothing truly happens by chance when you believe in the value of presence, of gestures, of affection. And if there's one message I want to leave, it's that we are much stronger than we think. Even when we find ourselves in situations of total vulnerability, there is always a choice. Olivia could have closed herself off, could have given up, but she chose to fight, to ask for help, to trust the unknown. Sophia could have become bitter, but she always looked for a reason to smile. Emily, even on her worst days, never stopped caring, teaching, inspiring. I needed to be shaken by a child selling toys to understand that my life needed another purpose. The justice against William Carter was just the beginning. The hardest and also the most beautiful part was rebuilding bonds, forgiving what went wrong, transforming a house into a home, making work something that serves others and not just personal ambitions. I learned that courage resides in the details, in apologizing, in starting over, in saying I love you, in forgiving yourself for mistakes made. That's how Olivia discovered the strength she had, how Sophia allowed herself to trust, how Megan brought her light into our routine, how I became a better person. Today, when the sun streams through our living room window and I see Olivia organizing an event at the community center, Sophia planning new activities, and Megan laughing while talking to the children, I feel a peace I never imagined possible. Emily left us too soon, but her legacy is immense. Not in material things, but in her example, her values, her commitment to those in need. If I ever have to summarize everything we lived through, I'd say it's worth believing in love and justice, even when everything seems hopeless. Hope can start small, like a girl trying to sell toys in the rain, but it can grow to transform an entire community. When I think about the future, I know we'll face other challenges, but now we are a family ready for any storm. And above all, we want everyone who crosses our path to feel that they too can start over, no matter the size of the pain, as long as there is support, dialogue, and a will to move forward. Subscribe to the channel and leave a like for more stories like this. May this story touch someone else's heart. May no one have to sell what they love to have hope. May everyone find a place to call home, where justice and love are always greater than any adversity. This is how we continue, day after day, celebrating not the overcoming of a difficult past, but the daily choice to build a new, dignified, and meaningful future for all of us.